Hey, it's your boy back in the house, and in today's video I'll be covering a book called Obesity Code, and I'll be giving you the exact strategy that this book offers for weight loss. And not only am I going to be covering all the factors that come into play when you want to take control over weight, when you want to lose fat, I'll also be covering the exact strategy, the exact system that has to happen in your body so you can actually tap into your fat stores and burn that fat so you can actually have energy. You don't need energy from food. You already have energy inside of you formed as fat. You just need to know what hormones you need to increase, what hormones you need to decrease, so your body has the most efficient way into tapping into that energy and using it as fast as possible and most of it as possible. And last but not least, why fasting is simply the best weight loss strategy there is out there. So you can finally go over all the BS that you know about fasting, that you know about weight loss. You just simply need to forget it if you haven't read this book. Forget everything you know, because this book will change your mind on so many different things about weight loss. Because calories, what mainstream media actually believes all this time, is calories are the only factor that determine your weight. Calorie deficit, you lose fat. But you need to understand our body doesn't have receptors for calories. It only has receptors for hormones. So your body doesn't know if you eat 1,000 or 3,000 or 10,000. Your body only knows what hormonal response those calories actually give you, how many hormones that triggers, but not how many calories you ate. It has nothing to do with calories. Your body simply, if you eat, I don't know, 10K calories, your body can simply choose just to, in some lack of other word, you can shit it out or just use it for energy, or your body can choose to actually store it as energy. It's actually just choosing the best pathways for you to actually just for that food to go through you, kind of. And here we come to the concept of good calories versus bad calories. Calorie is not a calorie. All calories are not the same. It's not the same to eat 2,000 calories of salad or 2,000 calories of a pizza. Totally different hormonal response. And hormones determine your weight. Let me explain. Because bad calories like carbs and sugar, mostly refined carbs and sugar, they stimulate most amount of hormone called insulin. And hormone insulin tells your body that it's time to store energy. Basically, when you eat sugar and carbs, your body turns that into sugar, into glucose, into blood sugar, and then takes it through insulin. Then insulin spikes up and takes that sugar into your fat stores. So basically, you gain fat. But the concept of good calories are salads. So for example, they are not aggressive. They don't stimulate your insulin. They make your insulin stay normal, if not actually go very low. So your body can actually tap into your fat stores, because when your insulin levels are low, that's when your body is burning fat. Doesn't matter how many calories you eat. You can be eating 2,000 calories. If your insulin levels are low, you'll be burning fat. But if your insulin levels are high, even though you're eating same amount of calories, if they're high, you won't be burning fat. You won't. It's impossible, because insulin is a hormone that inhibits lipolysis and gluconeogenesis. Those processes are necessary metabolic processes for your body to actually burn fat and use it for energy. It's biology, it's biochemistry, it's science. The mainstream media simply wants to use calories as the only way to lose weight and to control your weight. That's because it's only like the laziest way possible to explain to someone how to lose weight, how to gain weight, and how to maintain weight, which is just lazy. Our bodies are so complicated. We have so many different organs, so many different factors, external and internal factors come into play. Now, the next factor that comes into play is glycemic index and glycemic load. What that is simply the food's ability to trigger the glucose response, your blood sugar response. How likely is that food to spike your insulin levels? I'll pop a picture, and as you can see, some foods clearly have much higher numbers and some have really low numbers. It's basically how likely is that food going to be stored as fat. So you just need to focus on eating foods that have low glycemic index and low glycemic load. Now, moving on to the next really interesting thing is the whole system, is the actually function of your body, how it actually gets to store your fat. Basically, first you eat a lot of refined carbs. That triggers your glucose. Cortisol is a hormone, your stress hormone. When you have a lot of anxiety, when you're really stressed out at work, basically all the stress you can imagine, that's cortisol. And what cortisol does is really interesting. It basically stops proteins from going into your muscles, and they go into your liver where they're synthesized into glucose. So cortisol and refined carbohydrates stimulate glucose. They spike your blood sugar levels. That's why cortisol, that's most doctors say why stress is really bad for you. And also incretin hormones, but let's just say this goes really complicated, but let's just say stay away from artificial sweeteners. Doesn't matter if it's not sugar, if it's sweet, then it actually, artificial sweeteners have shown to be actually increase your insulin levels by like 22%, which is actually crazy and really bad for you if you're trying to lose weight. Okay, so these things, these two factors influence for your blood sugar, for your glucose to go up. When your blood sugar is up, that leads to high insulin levels. And when your insulin is high, that puts your body into energy storing mode. So all the calories you ate through refined carbohydrates and all the other calories you ate, simply because of high insulin, they get stored as fat, and that leads to weight gain, that leads to fat gain, that leads to obesity. And also another thing, incretins don't need to spike your blood sugar levels to increase your insulin. They instantly increase your insulin, which is really an interesting response from your body. And also, then that leads to high insulin. And high insulin, also weight gain, fat gain, obesity. Now, the second part of this system is really important if you want to lose weight permanently. I'm not saying just losing weight with calorie deficit, just for a few times, for a few months, and then everybody eventually comes back to their real weight. That's actually what I'm trying to explain here, is your set point weight. Everybody has that weight that they always find themselves in. No matter how much they lose, they end up coming back. No, it doesn't matter for some people how much they gain, they end up coming back. For me, that's mostly around 75 kilos. It's so hard for me to go above that if it's not through muscle mass. Through fat, like I'm always this lean. Doesn't matter, I only gain weight when I gain muscle mass through training. It's so hard for me to gain fat. Now, for some people, it was different in the past because I kind of trained my metabolism, doesn't matter. Because everybody has different set points of hormones. Someone has high insulin, low glucagon, and high leptin. That really triggers the set point to be high. So for some people, it's so hard to get away from 80 kilograms. For some people, it's 100 kilograms. For some people, it's anorexia. People just cannot go away from that weight. Even though they're eating a lot, they cannot, simply those calories just go straight through them. Your hormones determine how many calories are absorbed or stored as fat. That's the thing about set point. Your body always finds a way for the percentage of food to take in, store as fat, and when you go over your limit, your body simply burn fat or gain fat for it to come back. So if I lose more weight, my body will fight back and I'll gain some weight. Now, the second part of this whole system is really important if you want to lose weight permanently. If you want to lose weight permanently, it's not enough to just focus on calorie deficit. People lose weight, but they eventually come back. They don't even notice. Their just weight comes back. Their body, their metabolism slows down, their hunger increases, and their body decides to come back. Because it doesn't matter how many calories they eat, even if they are in a caloric deficit, their body just decides to use all those calories and slow down their metabolism, so they're using less calories for energy, their body's producing less heat, they lose muscle, their organ function, their brain function slows down. So your whole body slows down to adapt to that new calorie deficit, and you just end up maintaining your weight. You don't lose weight. Because, for example, my maintenance is around 75 kilograms. I cannot gain weight unless it's muscle mass. My fat just cannot come there. I can't gain. Like before it was different, I had to change that, but now I'm actually happy with my body. I don't want to change that anymore. So now, if I gain fat, I can easily gain fat, calorie surplus, eat more calories. A month, I gain fat, okay. But then my body simply refuses to stay at that weight. My body speeds up, my heat goes through the roof, my hunger slows down, and I simply come back to my old weight. I cannot control it. And also for a person that eats less calories, they lose fat, they take a month, 2 months, and then eventually their body comes back because their body fights back. They eat less, but simply their body slows their metabolism, so they're using less calories. Their hormones go through the roof, so their hunger and cravings go through the roof too. And their body just comes back to their old where it used to be. So you need to take control of your set point. It isn't enough to just do it over like a short period of time. You need to actually have a permanent strategy, permanent weight loss strategy. This is what I'm about, and this is what the second part is about. That's where insulin resistance comes in, because over longer periods of time, when you have high insulin, over periods of time, it's always high, it's high, then your body starts, your cells that take in, that respond to insulin, to take in glucose for energy, your cells actually kind of die in some way. Like a part of it dies. Now, only like 75% of insulin can be used. Now your body has to increase insulin for it to have the same effect on this area. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, when high insulin, this leads even to higher insulin. And if your insulin's high, you keep storing more fat, keep getting more fat. And the more resistant you get, for example, you're 50% insulin resistant, then your body has to double your pancreas secretion of insulin. And then you double your insulin and you double your weight, my friend. You double your weight. That's where insulin resistance, you need to take control of insulin resistance. The way you do that is through fasting. Now, the last part of this system is fructose. Fructose and glucose. Glucose can be blood sugar and can be used in every other cells in your brain, can be used in your muscles, can be used in your liver. Every other area in every other organ can use glucose, but only liver can use fructose. I'd say like 90% of foods nowadays in supermarkets, refined foods, have high levels of fructose in it. High fructose corn syrup. No cells can use fructose other than your liver. Then only your liver can synthesize it, and when it can only synthesize it, then your only liver uses it. And when there's too much fructose, you simply get fatty liver and you get insulin resistance in your liver specifically. So that's really bad for your liver insulin resistance. So simply to understand this, high levels of insulin lead your body to store energy. And what affects insulin are different factors like refined carbohydrates, sugars, and all other foods stimulate insulin or stimulate blood sugar, but some more, some less. Refined carbohydrates and sugar do it in the most crazy way. And also cortisol, stress hormone, increases glucose, that increases insulin, leads to obesity. Incretin hormones, don't eat artificial sweeteners. So the answer to your weight loss is very, very simple. Low levels of insulin over longer periods of time. So your body can be in that energy burning mode, fat burning mode. Basically, when you eat something, when your stomach is empty, your insulin is normal. As soon as you eat something, your levels of insulin spike up and they come back down. And when you don't eat anything, when your stomach is empty, your insulin goes down. So basically, the answer is simple. What fasting does, why I said this is the best strategy for weight loss, is because when you fast, there's no reason for your body to spike your insulin, and you'll just have long periods of time where low insulin. And this right here, let me take another marker, is when your body is burning fat. This is when your body is storing fat. And the quick tip to why snacks are really, really bad for you if you're trying to lose weight, if you're on a certain diet, why you should not snack. You should just have like meal, then you stop eating. You should have a meal, you stop eating. This is why. Because when you have a meal, this happens. And then you stop eating, and then your body has time to go low in insulin. And you also eat again, then your insulin go up, and you also have time. This is how you maintain your weight. Just have normal levels of insulin. As much as it's high, you need to have the lows. As many highs, as many lows. That's how you maintain your weight. And now why snacks are really bad. This is what happens. You eat a meal, then you don't give it time to go down. You just start eating again. You eat a little snack, eat some cereal, whatever. Then you don't give it time no more. You eat again and you snack again and you eat again. Your body doesn't have time to lower its levels of insulin, but your body needs to be here in order for your body to lose fat, to burn fat for energy. Simply, you are this whole time in energy storing mode. And even if you're a caloric deficit, you're eating foods that spike your insulin, your body cannot tap into those metabolic processes. Your body can go down here because your levels of insulin are high. You need to give it time. Now, how we can use fasting and how to actually fast for you to actually lose weight the best way possible. You need to know that you can fast up to 3 days without food. Now, I'm not telling you to do that. What I'm telling you to do you have 7 days in a week. Fast a whole day for 3 days in that week. And only eat foods that are low in the carbohydrates and sugar, but high in, you eat a lot of salad, really healthy foods on the days that are actually for you to eat. So you go Monday, you don't eat anything. You go Tuesday, you eat but healthy, good food. You can even eat, it's surprising how many foods, delicious foods you can find that are low in glycemic index. So basically over a course of a week, this is how your insulin will be looking like on this fasting diet. Basically, you eat, but you eat low glycemic foods so your insulin isn't really spiked up at all. Then you fast for a whole day. Then you eat again and you fast. And you eat again and you fast. See, this is how much your body is energy burning mode, and only this, how your body is energy storing mode. So you'll be losing and shedding fat really, really fast. See, fasting isn't actually all that hard because you are allowed to drink water, you're allowed to drink coffee, you're allowed to drink any tea, but green tea is the most recommended one because it has some special weight loss powers actually. And also you can fast up to 3 days without stopping. But if you want to go over 3 days, I don't recommend you, I'm telling you, if you want to go over 3 days, you need to get medical supervision. Anything below that is simply just good for you and healthy. Now, fasting is really good for people that can fast. Now, there are some people that should not ever fast unless they actually talk to their doctor first. First, people that are on some heavy medication, that's really important for them to stay alive. People, women that are pregnant and women that are breastfeeding. Those 3 people should not fast. And if you don't fall into those 3 categories, you are free to fast, my friends. And take this to your advantage because you're actually blessed to have this as an opportunity for you to actually use to lose and shed fat fast. Because fasting, I don't care who says anything, is actually really good. Studies have shown intermittent fasting is so good for your health, especially if you do it right, if you do it how I told you. I really hope that you will take this and apply this to your life and take it into your advantage as a strategy that will work 100% for anyone if they want to lose fat. And also because fasting also improves your insulin resistance, because after your insulin is really low, that resets your cells and they become insulin sensitive again. That's actually type 2 diabetes. Only cure actually for type 2 diabetes is fasting. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and like this video if you want to see more of this type of content. And also make sure to follow me on Instagram while I'm actually posting some really, really interesting things. So check it out if you want to lose weight. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.